Imagine this. You buy a $6 Starbucks drink and the company isn't just making money from that one coffee. It has built a system designed to make you come back tomorrow and the day after that. That's the real business hiding behind the cup. Zian noticed this while watching a Starbucks during the morning rush. The line was packed, mobile orders kept appearing, and customers were spending $5 or $6 without thinking twice. At first, it looked simple: sell coffee, collect money, repeat. But Starbucks is much more complicated than that. And there's one important detail most people miss. Starbucks isn't primarily a traditional franchise business in the U.S. Most of its stores are company-operated, so the real question isn't simply, how much does a Starbucks owner make? It's how does Starbucks actually make money? The answer starts with volume. One coffee doesn't create enormous wealth, but thousands of customers making purchases every day can create billions in revenue. And Starbucks has something even more valuable: repeat customers. If someone buys coffee every morning before work, one customer can become hundreds of transactions every year. Starbucks isn't just selling coffee, it's selling a routine. But revenue isn't profit. Every drink has costs behind it: coffee, milk, syrups, cups, food, transportation, employee wages, rent, electricity, maintenance, technology, and marketing. Starbucks reported $37.2 billion in revenue in fiscal 2025, but billions went toward product costs and store operating expenses. So a packed store doesn't automatically mean huge profits. Then there's location. A Starbucks near an office, highway, airport, or university can serve far more customers than one hidden on a quiet street. Convenience is part of what customers are paying for. And the same location can generate sales throughout the day: morning coffee, lunch, afternoon drinks, evening orders, drive-through purchases, and mobile pickups. The goal is to keep the store productive for as many hours as possible, but that creates another challenge: labor. Starbucks employees have to take orders, prepare drinks, handle food, manage mobile orders, clean equipment, restock supplies, and keep customers moving. If labor costs rise, profitability can fall, but cutting staff too aggressively can slow service and damage the customer experience. So Starbucks has to constantly balance efficiency with service. Technology is another part of that equation. Mobile ordering, digital payments, and Starbucks rewards make purchasing faster and encourage customers to return. Instead of convincing someone to visit from scratch every morning, Starbucks wants to become part of their routine. And the company doesn't only make money from coffee. A customer might come in for a latte and leave with a breakfast sandwich, pastry, cold drink, or another item. That increases the value of each visit without necessarily requiring an entirely new customer. This is where the business model becomes interesting. Starbucks is constantly trying to increase both how often customers visit and how much they spend when they do. But perhaps the biggest advantage is the brand. If Zion opened an independent coffee shop tomorrow, he would have to build recognition from zero. He'd need to create a menu, find suppliers, advertise, design the store, attract customers, and convince them to return. Starbucks already has a recognizable brand and a standardized experience. Customers generally know what they're going to get before they walk through the door. That familiarity reduces one of the biggest problems in retail: uncertainty. But brand recognition doesn't guarantee profit. A Starbucks can be packed and still face serious financial pressure from wages, rent, ingredients, maintenance, technology, and other operating costs. That's why Zian stopped looking at the price of a latte and started looking at the entire economic machine behind it. Think about what happens during one busy morning. Customers arrive, employees turn ingredients into drinks. The store uses electricity and equipment. Mobile orders move through the system. Customers pay. Some buy food. Others use rewards. Then, many come back again tomorrow. Each individual transaction is small, but the system repeats thousands of times across thousands of locations. That's the power of scale. Starbucks also benefits from having a huge supply chain behind those stores. Coffee beans, milk, food, packaging, equipment, and technology have to move through a massive network before they reach the customer. That scale can create efficiencies, but it also creates complexity. When costs increase somewhere in the system, the impact can spread across thousands of stores. Zion also realized that Starbucks is selling something beyond coffee: convenience. You aren't only paying for beans, milk, and syrup. You're paying for a location that's already on your route. A familiar menu, fast service, digital ordering, predictable quality, and an environment you already understand. That's why someone might pay more for a Starbucks drink than for coffee made at home. The product is partly the experience and convenience surrounding the drink, and that's why Starbucks has spent years building customer loyalty. If a customer visits 5 times a week instead of once a month, the economics change dramatically. A small purchase becomes valuable because it repeats. This is one of the most important lessons in the entire business. Frequency can be more powerful than a huge profit on a single sale. Starbucks doesn't need every customer to spend hundreds of dollars at once. It needs millions of customers to keep making relatively small purchases again and again. As Zion looked deeper, he also realized why Starbucks locations can be so valuable. A store in a high-traffic area has access to a constant stream of potential customers. Offices create morning and lunch traffic. Universities create student demand. Airports create travelers who value convenience. Highways create drive-through traffic. The location changes the number of transactions the store can potentially process, but even the best location has limits. A store has a certain number of employees, machines, registers, parking spaces, and hours in a day. If demand becomes too high, customers may face long waits, which can hurt the experience. So the business has to optimize the entire system, not simply attract as many people as possible, and that's why technology matters. Better ordering systems, mobile apps, digital payments, and improved workflows can help a store process more orders without creating the same amount of friction. But technology isn't free either. It requires investment, maintenance, software, hardware, and employees who know how to use it. Every advantage comes with a cost. Eventually, Zion understood the biggest misconception about Starbucks. The business isn't successful because coffee is incredibly expensive to make. It's successful because Starbucks has built a system that can repeatedly turn customer demand into transactions at scale. The brand brings customers in. The location makes the purchase convenient. The menu gives customers options. Employees produce the products. Technology makes ordering easier. Rewards encourage repeat visits. And the supply chain keeps thousands of stores operating. Every piece has to work together. So the next time Zion sees a packed Starbucks, he doesn't just see coffee cups and baristas. He sees real estate, labor, supply chains, technology, customer behavior, brand recognition, and thousands of small purchases happening every day. And that's the real economics behind Starbucks. Not one expensive cup of coffee, but a massive system designed to turn ordinary purchases into repeat business at enormous scale.